But there's been a lot of chatter about his size and how he fits into the NFL. But after dominating college football, he outperformed Heisman Trophy winner Baker Mayfield. And there's one newly minted NFL head coach that's already fallen in love with Kyler.
Kyler is a freak, and I've followed him since he was a sophomore in high school, and just think the world of him and what he can do on a football field. I don't have enough good things to say about him. He's phenomenal. I've never seen him have a poor outing, not one, which at quarterbacks it's impossible to do, but he's done it. And I don't know, I'd take him with the first pick of the draft if I could. I know he's signed up to play baseball, but he is a dominant football player, and I would take him with the first pick.
Funny you should mention first picks, Cliff, because guess what? The Cardinals have the first pick, and you're the head coach of them. And right now, QBR, whatever,
They were dead last.
Thank you. I'm like, I don't know. I missed it. But the good news is Josh McCown is here, and we're going to break down Kyler Murray as much as we possibly can because, listen, Cliff Kingsbury, he coached Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech, and we've seen what he's been able to do in the NFL. And now he could potentially work with Kyler Murray. So the skill sets could be similar and something we could see in the NFL.
Yeah, it's a favorable comp. You know, both have baseball backgrounds. The way they throw it, that's what I saw when I watched Kyler on tape, was just the way he spins a football. He's got a very strong arm, and he makes plays very similar to Patrick. So I think there's a tie-in there that you can look at that and say, Pat played for Cliff in college, and here they are sitting with the #1 pick. It makes sense for the things that Cliff wants to do in his offense to look at a player like Kyler Murray.
Well, show us a little bit of that, because then I want to ask you, obviously that would create a very interesting situation because they drafted a quarterback in the first round last year. But show me what it is that they look similar.
Well, here's what I love about him. He's a playmaker, right? He's got pressure in the pocket. He's going to step up. Now, he's a runner. This kid can run, but he's not going to just take off. His eyes are downfield, and you see right here, when you're back here and you see this, that's not open, but he lets this ball fly. This isn't a playoff game, and he gets a big touchdown. That's who he is. He's a playmaker, and it's hard to pass up on playmakers. I love what he can do here. In another shot of the action game, he's going to do it again. Stepping up. Again. Yeah. And again, he's back there in the back of the pocket. He sees that this guy's open. It doesn't look like he's open, but he makes the throw. Question
I have for you, then. We always see him in the shotgun. Now, do you put him under center when you get him into the NFL? Well, because that's what we're accustomed to.
Right. I think the game is going there. Obviously, in my career, since 2002 to now, we're in the gun so much more. You do need to be under center. The run game is vital, and the best way to run the football is from under center. But with the things that you see in the offense, especially with Cliff Kingsbury, who has come from a Lincoln Riley type of system where you're moving people, fly sweeps, zone reads, RPOs, he fits that mold very well.
Well, show us a little bit of him and Mahomes here, because that's the comparison I think people will find most interesting.
Right, exactly. I mean, look, we talked about his playmaking ability, right? He's gonna look to make a play, to make a throw, like we talked about on the last shot. He's looking around. He's trying to find an open guy. They're well covered, right? What I love about Kyler Murray is he's a great decision maker outside the pocket. You don't see this with a lot of young guys, especially guys that can run. They throw when they shouldn't, and they run when they shouldn't. He examines the field, and then he takes off and goes to get the touchdown because people are covered. He doesn't force the ball in the red zone. This is excellent. Now you go to Pat Mahomes. Similar situation. He's looking around, scanning the field, going through his progressions. Now it's time to go. His clock is telling him it's time to leap. He's going to make a play with his feet, and he uses his dynamic arm to get a touchdown and make a throw because he assesses the situation. So I think there's some carryover between these two players, and that's what links him to Cliff Kingsbury.
And so here's the question that I have. Look, this is going to sound like you're sort of knocking Josh Rosen. There is nothing about this that has anything to do with Josh Rosen except that if you're going to hire Cliff Kingsbury to be the coach of your team, it would make no sense to do that and then not allow him to run the offense that has made him successful in the first place. And Josh Rosen is not a guy with that skill set. So might it make sense to trade him away and take Murray?
Absolutely, and here's why. Listen, Josh Rosen did nothing last year to dispel his ability to play in this league.
Yeah.
Right here, but this is who he is, right? He goes back to sluggo seam concept, freezes the safety with his eyes, comes back and finds Larry up the seam with a beautiful throw. This is Josh at his best. He's a pocket guy. That's who he's going to be, and he's going to win football games that way. And so if you look at the fit and how Cliff Kingsbury's history with Patrick Mahomes and now with a player at the top of the draft like Kyler Murray, it's hard to argue with them making that move. And would it be extreme? Would it be out of the norm? Absolutely. But I think you could do that. But also, Josh can be successful with Cliff's offense as well, but Kyler could take it to another level.
Well, and Josh, I think you said this before. When you make the hire to take on Cliff Kingsbury, it's not like he was winning this exponential amount of games on the college level. You're taking him because of his system, right, his mind. So why would you not make that move to get the guy that fits completely in it? You know what I mean? Like, you've already made the commitment.
Absolutely. I mean, you saw the comments and you see how Cliff feels about Kyler Murray. So there's no denying that. And it's his first time as a head coach in the National Football League. And so if I'm going out there as a head coach and as an offensive guy and wanting to move the football, I want the guy that I feel like I can do that the best with. Can he do that with Josh Rosen? Absolutely. He's a good offensive mind. There's no doubt about it. And we just saw Josh can play. But I think at its best, Kyler Murray might be a better fit.
And they probably could get a first-round pick for Josh Rosen, maybe a late first-round pick if they would look to make a trade. That let the speculation begin on who might be interested in that. But there are teams out there that need quarterbacks, so they probably could get a first-round pick
Absolutely.
for him.
Yeah. All right. Well, coming up tonight, guys, we have SportsCenter at 6 Eastern, and that's after PTI with Sage and Kevin. They'll look at Duke's new determination minus the Zion factor, plus inside the Celtics' big problem north of the border. And the latest, of course, on Bryce Harper. That's all on SportsCenter at 6 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app.
All right, what you were looking at right now is a picture taken yesterday of Tom Brady embracing Patriots owner Robert Kraft in the wake of Kraft's prostitution charges. The two, along with others, shared Kraft's private plane on a flight from Los Angeles back to Boston yesterday. In case you were not aware, Robert Kraft has been charged with 2 misdemeanor counts of first-degree solicitation. If convicted, Kraft could face up to 1 year in jail, a $5,000 fine, and would have to complete 100 hours of community service. And so we will discuss this here. And I will tell you that I'm about to violate the first rule of Talk Show Host 101 by saying I honestly have no idea what to say about this. But this is, in the 30 years that I have been in this industry, one of the most stunning stories that I have ever watched develop over the course of time. And maybe when you consider all that is involved, the least important part of it is how the National Football League will react. But we are a sports show on a sports network, so that is appropriate for us to discuss. And what I would say is this: if you were looking at the league office and how they should handle a circumstance like this, you were dealing with charges that in and of themselves are not extraordinarily serious. You've seen what the potential penalty may be. But this is a crime that is connected, not tangentially, but directly to one that is extraordinarily serious and to an issue that probably is not taken nearly seriously enough in our culture. And maybe if there is a good side of this, it will be that a greater light is shined onto that. So if I were the one making the decision on what to do here, I would have to surround myself with a whole bunch of really smart people whose opinions I value very highly and take all of that into account before I made a decision, because for the life of me, I do not know exactly what the right thing is to do. Maria, what are your thoughts?
I mean, my initial reaction, and you mentioned it, like, we're having to make comments on what the NFL should do, because that's the reaction that we're going to have on a sports-specific show. But my reaction to whatever they deem necessary is going to be, okay, this is how you value women. This is how, in another situation where a woman's well-being is put at harm, you're making a decision on how the NFL responds to it and sees that in light of. And I also think that we're going to be making comparisons to how Robert Kraft is treated versus players. So, you know, what if this was a player, a quarterback, a very high-profile player that was caught in a similar situation? Will those two things be comparable? And I think that that's going to be the one thing that I'm looking at through this. And you're just so right. I mean, you have to define this as solicitation versus human trafficking, but we are seeing an underbelly right now, you know, an undercurrent. And if it's something that you want to clean up as the NFL, then I think that there are necessary moves that have to be made.
As Josh knows, because he plays in the league, NFL right now has a huge image problem. And when these terms are used, human trafficking, prostitution, domestic violence, and assault, it now calls into question, does the NFL value women? And so that's where this is going to end up going based on the level of punishment that they garner towards him. Generally, when somebody's successful, in particular in sports, we divorce them from their bad behavior because they're so excellent at what they do, and in this case, is winning championships. But on the field, they've had issues that they've been disciplined for. Spygate, Deflategate, those did take place under his ownership, under his leadership. Now this personal situation is now taking place that he's going to have to deal with. We saw Jim Irsay be punished as the owner of the Colts. I think this punishment is probably going to parallel that, if not go a little bit further based on the dynamics of what we're hearing.
Yeah, I just think for us as players, we're humans, and we want to see the best of humanity happen in this situation. And so looking at this, I think reflective, punishment or not, the league has an opportunity to make a statement, and I hope that's what we do in this situation. I hope we do not what's best for the league, but what's best for humanity. What's in this situation with such a heavy topic, let's do the best thing there, and I think work back from there. And so whatever the punishment is, it is.
Yeah, and I agree. I think it's Robert Kraft can say, now what do I do from here, and how do I make a statement? And that's wholeheartedly accepting what I did, saying sorry, and then supporting anti-trafficking causes with your checkbook, with your time, with the resources that you have as a business leader in this community, and really worldwide. He's got reach worldwide. He can do some really good here after this.
All right, we'll leave the conversation here. Obviously, we'll continue to cover the story as it develops. There are so many different sides of it, but certainly one of them is that it hits you in your gut in a certain way, and I'm glad that we all had a chance to express whatever that way may be. In the meantime, we'll take a time out. We'll come back with the rest of the news of the day. We'll get back to LeBron James and the Lakers. It was a very disappointing night for them. What did it mean? We will get to that and more. This is Get Up on ESPN.